Hey everyone, welcome back to Strange New Worlds, a science and Star Trek podcast. I'm your host, Mike Wong. Every summer, at Carnegie Science's Earth and Planets Laboratory, where I work as an astrobiologist and planetary scientist, we welcome roughly a dozen undergraduate students to campus through the EPIC internship program. These undergrads come from all over the country to work in our labs and participate in cutting-edge Earth and planetary science research. Most of them for the very first time, thanks to generous funding from the National Science Foundation. Today on Strange New Worlds, we're going to meet two of this year's EPIC interns, Abigail Alling and Amelia Lee, who have decided to add an education in Star Trek to their summer internship experience. Specifically, Amelia, who has seen a lot of Star Trek, is giving Abby, who has seen relatively little, a tour of its wide and wonderful universe. So on this episode, we're going to talk to Carnegie Science interns Abigail Alling and Amelia Lee about the Trek they've watched so far this summer, how Star Trek continues to inspire young scientists to this day, and learn about the research that they're engaging in at Carnegie. But first, let me set the context by explaining that I, too, was a Carnegie intern way back in the day. And I am also an EPIC intern, but from many years ago, I did my very first research project here at Carnegie, and this is where I was exposed to scientific research for the first time. And when I was a part of my cohort in the EPIC program, it didn't have that name back then, but still, it was
Was it called, just Carnegie?
It was just the Carnegie Summer Scholars.
So we're the epic ones.
You're the real epic ones, yeah. I decided to try to introduce my EPIC cohort to Star Trek.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because I loved Star Trek. I've loved it ever since I was a kid. And I thought, a bunch of other scientists, they'll love Star Trek too.
What's not to like?
And so there was this outdoor screening of all the different Star Trek movies, one a week. And back then, there were only 10 Star Trek movies. So it was like literally one a week for our entire internship program.
That's perfect.
And so I was like, we're gonna do this. I took everybody out to see Star Trek the Motion Picture, which was an epic fail because as you
start with, for sure.
It was actually really bad. Nobody liked it, and then everybody who didn't already previously like Star Trek dropped out and never came back to any of those screenings.
No,
that's so sad.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I was super intrigued when Amelia, you decided to introduce Abby to Star Trek, but you chose a completely different path. Instead of showing Abby the original Star Trek movie, which can be slow and boring and tedious and really not so good.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'll have to show you some of the scenes, where they're going around the Enterprise.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Okay, we'll have to, maybe we can watch it at the very end.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you can bear it.
Once you're connected to the characters, then you have no choice but to love it.
Exactly. And so you chose to show a specific episode. What episode was that?
I chose Trials and Tribulations from Deep Space Nine because we don't have a lot of time for this epic internship. We're already halfway through. Now we're just watching Star Trek. So I thought I would show Abby an episode that combines both Deep Space Nine and the original series, so she can get kind of an idea of both, which kind of the aesthetics of the original series and see Spock and Kirk, obviously, and then also get introduced to some of the characters in Deep Space Nine, because I think Deep Space Nine has the best characters in all of Star Trek. So I thought that'd be a good starting point.
So this is a very interesting choice to me because this episode, I believe, was the 30th anniversary episode of Star Trek, which is why they decided to blend Deep Space Nine with the original series to sort of pay homage.
I had no idea that was the anniversary episode.
Yeah, and so it seems like it's very self-referential, and for longtime Star Trek fans who have seen a lot of the different series would be it's just the special treat, like a cherry on top, revisiting old characters in an old classic story of the Tribbles. How did you feel going into it not having that context, Abby?
Yeah,
that's a good question. I had no idea what we were going into at all. The only thing I've seen Strange New Worlds, the first 2 seasons, and then I've seen the Star Trek movies. So I know Spock and I know Kirk.
Or like the J.J. Abrams movies.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Probably.
Whatever was in theaters not that long ago. But going into this one, I feel like it was so much more fun than I thought it'd be. I felt like Star Trek was going to be really like technical and serious, but then it was these tribbles, right? Mm-hmm. And they were just like pom-poms. They didn't even have faces or anything, and it just felt kind of nostalgic and cute. And I thought it was perfect because I got to see a little bit of Deep Space Nine, but also some of the original series, like 2 for 1. Honestly, I think it took us a really long time to decide which episode to watch.
Yeah, I was going back and forth. Like, do I want to show my favorite original series, City on the Edge of Forever? But, like, they're not in space, so I want to show you something, like, in space.
Right, with time travel.
Yeah, time travel. Trying to get, like, a good mix of everything. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the first one I went to.
It's perfect. And I feel like I didn't need that much context to understand it or to follow along.
I could explain it, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I explained everything. It was perfect.
Amelia, what you just said reminds me about the struggles I have introducing Star Trek to new fans, is that a lot of my favorite Star Trek episodes are kind of weird and not really the standard Star Trek story. They're going back in time, or they're encountering something new, or it's told in a very funny way, and so I feel like I want to show those episodes to new fans because they're the ones that bring me the most joy, but they also might not be like really emblematic of the vast majority of Star Trek episodes out there.
And so I feel like the reason why we like these episodes so much is because we know the characters. Like, we've already kind of gotten to know them well, and so when you see them in these scenarios, it's like really interesting. But like, to someone who's just watching it for the first time, they have no connection, which I still think you can enjoy it, obviously. But yeah. So
how did you choose Trials and Tribulations? Was it because you just wanted to be able to explain 2 series for the price of 1 to Abby?
A little bit. I was like, I feel like I should show her original series, right? Because she's seen some of Strange New Worlds, and like she knows some of the characters, and that's like the classic thing you start with. But also Deep Space Nine is my favorite. And I love all the characters there. And Abby says she loves a good character. Like, characters are really important in being able to enjoy a show. So I just wanted to combine 2 worlds because I'm indecisive. So luckily there's an episode that combined both.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Another thing that I do when somebody comes to me and is like, where do I start with Star Trek, is I ask them what other kinds of media they enjoy, what other kinds of movies or comic books or TV shows they like. And so I know that Abby likes fantasy a lot. I love
fantasy. Game of Thrones.
As well as really stressful things.
The more stressful, the better. I want to be like panicking when I'm watching it.
So to me, the most stressful times I've ever watched Star Trek was watching Star Trek Discovery.
Oh.
It is stressful. Yeah, there's so much going on.
And the first episode was stressful.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, you 2 watched the first episode last night.
We did.
Tell us about how that was different from watching this Deep Space Nine episode, which was made in the 90s, to Star Trek Discovery, which came out in 2017, and had a completely different vibe.
I mean, aside from the actual quality and special effects being like infinitely better, I feel like it was so much darker. Like Deep Space Nine, we watched it and they were literally fighting the like tribbles. And I don't know. It was very like, it was fun and it wasn't that stressful, and you just kind of felt like, okay, I know they're gonna end up fine, and it's cool. But then for this one, and I'm sorry, I don't remember anyone's names from the show, but like the one girl who went out and encountered a Klingon guy and then almost died from the radiation.
Michael.
Yes, Michael. And I was genuinely like, I don't know if she's going to make it past the first episode. And I love that. I wanted to be like, I don't know where this is going, and I don't know if anyone's going to survive. And
the captain doesn't make it past the first episode. Michelle Yeoh's character, right? She gets killed at the end of it.
Did she die?
She doesn't die at the end of the first
She does not die.
Wait. Oh, wait.
Not the first. Okay, the first episode is split into 2.
Oh, and you didn't watch the second half. Oh my god, I'm so
She died.
Don't worry about it. Actually, it's fine.
I thought she was going to be like the main character of the whole show.
I completely forgot that the first episode was split in 2, because when it aired in 2017, they released the first 2 episodes back like on the same day. So you just basically watch
like a long movie.
I'm so sorry.
I was like, did I fall asleep? Like, how did I miss her entire death?
Okay. Well, you've got to keep watching Discovery, and actually, you got to go through the entire first season.
I will.
So
It's
good.
so fun.
Yeah.
I love, no spoilers, but I love the mechanic of like space travel they come up with. Like Stamets, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
I love whatever he does to like travel through space. That
The
whole
spore
thing.
drive.
Yeah, the spore drive.
yeah.
I guess it's not really a spoiler, but that's
Okay.
really fun. You'll see it.
Well,
I
I'm
think it's really
excited.
fun.
That was inspired by some real science. So
Was it
the
actually?
writers of
Really?
Discovery were inspired by recent discoveries of mycelial networks on Earth, these fungal networks that connect trees. And trees are able to pass different chemicals and signals through their fungal partners across vast domains of the forest underground. And so sort of in a metaphorical way, the writers of Star Trek Discovery were like, what if there was a fungal network that connected vastly distant parts of space-time to one another, and you could travel not just as a chemical, but as an entire starship through this network as a way of going faster than
Yeah.
light.
And the
a little
animation
trippy.
for it's really fun. Like the way the ship spins. I think that's so cool. You'll see some
excited.
You've got so much to look forward to
Yes.
as well. And then this third episode that you watched recently, it was the first episode of Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
So we've both already seen it.
have.
But we were like, we haven't seen it in a while.
We
wanna, like,
needed a refresher.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to catch up before the late July release of
Yeah,
season 4 of
exactly.
Strange New
We have
Worlds.
to
Yes.
Get on that.
We have 3 weeks to watch 3
Yeah.
seasons.
Oh my god, we can
Yeah,
do it.
we
Couple
can.
episodes a night.
Every single night.
Exactly.
Maybe during our lunch breaks.
Oh my god, yeah, that too. We can put it in. Oh, what's the room? The symposium room. That
Yeah,
or
the
whatever.
Greenwell Auditorium.
Yeah, like for lunch. I guess we can't eat there, but you could do that.
Yeah.
I won't tell anybody if there is food consumed in that room. I guess the entire world will know once this podcast airs.
True. Do it before the podcast.
Yes.
So one thing that I remember very moving about that first episode of Strange New Worlds was Pike's speech toward the end of the episode, where he shows these images of what happened in the 21st century on Earth to this nuclear capable but pre-warp society that seems like it's going down a path of self-destruction. And he sort of talks them out of this. He says that there is a better way, but we struggled with these very same existential crisis dilemmas too, but you can get out of it. And that was very hopeful and moving to me. I wonder how it felt to you on this rewatch.
What did you think?
I thought it was cool. I felt like it was definitely, the message felt like a parallel of our society.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and it felt like it was saying, let's not head down this path. So, but I liked how it was a sort of sci-fi relation where, I don't know, imagine if some alien species came down to Earth and was like, me and Amelia were talking about this yesterday,
Yeah.
if some aliens came and were like, guys, stop fighting, just join our space federation. We don't know if like
Yeah, like
people
what would you think?
But we would
I
personally.
would 100%. You're
Yeah, I'd be like,
take me to space,
bye.
please.
Yeah. GTFO.
Probably fun science, so
Yeah.
I want to be up there.
Yeah.
But it was really cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I really liked the connection to like real world human events, kind of like where we had the atomic bomb and stuff. Like this new science, I guess we didn't super understand, and we used it to kill each other. So, you know, as humans do. But I've always liked that Star Trek uses aliens to like tell the story of humanity. And I think that's always been really fun because they can kind of, especially in the 60s, they can get around like TV networks or something to like tell a story. Otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed to. And so I always think that was really cool that they used aliens as a medium for that.
Right. It's like a return to the original form where at once Pike was speaking to this fictional audience of alien diplomats and leaders, but also I felt like he was speaking to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so on this rewatch, you saw 3 episodes, each from different series. We had one from DS9, Trials and Tribulations, such a good episode.
Right.
We had the first episode of Strange New Worlds, which was fantastic, I thought. Really hooked me into that series. And then the first episode of Star Trek Discovery, which is really just the first half of the first episode.
Yes.
That was gripping, but also dark and had a different sort of gritty feel.
Yeah.
Which of these was the most, I guess, enjoyable to rewatch for you, Amelia?
Definitely Trials and Tribulations, just because I love the original series and Deep Space Nine a lot. And seeing the characters like kind of meet each other. Like at the end when Cisco goes up to Captain Kirk and like gives him the little chart or whatever, I'm like, that's so cute. I love that.
Yeah.
That was really fun because like I do the same thing. Like back in time or something.
Yeah, absolutely. That reminded me of when I was an intern here, Vera Rubin, who we're very fond of here at Carnegie. Yeah, she, for those in the audience who don't know, Vera Rubin discovered dark matter.
She's such a legend.
So cool.
And she worked right here at Carnegie, and so we have a lot of love for her. Unfortunately, she passed away a few years ago, but when I was here as an intern more than a decade ago, she gave a seminar to the interns, and after the internship, I brought my lab notebook up to her, and I said, would you please sign my lab notebook?
I would do the same.
Yeah,
that was basically me being a Cisco to Kirk, right?
Oh, that's way cool.
Yeah. Wow. So for you, Abby, this is the first time you saw two of those episodes, the Deep Space Nine one and the Star Trek Discovery one, and then you rewatched the Strange New Worlds episode.
Exactly.
Which one was the most enjoyable for you?
Honestly, maybe you just know me really well, Mike. But I think the one I liked the most was Discovery. I love the like atmosphere of it. It starts in the desert and it felt very like Star Wars. I know there's some rivalry with the fandoms. I do like Star Wars though. And or like Dune-esque and a little bit more fantasy. And then like I said, I like the kind of more darker, stressful type of shows. So I think that was my favorite. I mean, I really liked Strange New Worlds because I watched it before, and Deep Space Nine was really fun. But if I had to pick to like continue watching one, I think I'd go with Discovery.
All right.
That makes sense because there's already so much suspense. Like you have to keep watching,
and I want to know what happens to the characters, especially the captain. Like I want to know what happens to her.
Well, now you know.
Yes, there's a lot more to be said about the captain. We'll see.
Yeah. That was a spoiler.
Okay. Amelia, how did you get into watching Star Trek in the first place?
Yeah, so back in high school, I was like getting into astronomy, finding that really interesting, and I was like, I want to watch a show that's space, sci-fi. And so I knew of Star Trek because like very huge in pop culture. And then I just started watching it with my dad, and then my little sisters joined in. And so now it's a family tradition to keep watching Star Trek episodes. So yeah, right now we're on Enterprise and Voyager. So I haven't finished them, but I really like them so far. That's what we've been doing.
There's a lot to go through. I also have fond memories of sitting around the TV with my family watching Star Trek. It's really good.
Aww.
It's so fun.
And Abby, how did you decide to jump into Star Trek?
Honestly, I feel kind of pressured. I'm just surrounded by Star Trek fans. I feel like I need to do this.
We've actually forced her here.
Yeah, right.
She's changing the chair. You can't see it, but
oh yeah, it's rough out here. But I don't know. Ever since I've known you, Mike, we've talked about Star Trek, and it sounds really intriguing. And Amelia, you also have like said how good it is, and a few of the other interns really like it. And honestly, I'm just looking for something new to get into. I feel like I've seen a lot of like fantasy shows, and now kind of pivoting to science. I think it'd be a good time to pivot into sci-fi as well.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
And what's more classic sci-fi than Star Trek? So, yeah, that's why I thought it'd be fun. Especially like being with such experts, it's easier to get into because I would not know where to start otherwise.
And like, so you have a pre-law background, right? Is it kind of like goes into philosophy? Because Star Trek's also very like philosophical, and like all sorts of different things you could relate to that, I assume.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to show her the Data episode that you mentioned.
Yeah, Measure of a Man.
Yes.
It's such a good episode. It's a courtroom drama.
You
would love that, yes. And then there's also one in Star Trek Strange New Worlds as well, where they
Which I did see that one.
Yes.
That was a really cool trial.
Yeah. Okay. So, Amelia, you've watched a lot of Star Trek over the years with your family. What has it meant to you? What do you think keeps you and your family coming back to watching more and more Star Trek? Because there's a lot to go through, but there's also like you have limited time here on Earth. You could be doing so many other things, and so many other IPs. You know, what is it about Star Trek?
I think we've just become really attached to the characters, and I guess maybe it's cheesy, but like what Starfleet means, like a future where science is really big and there's exploration and we come in peace. And I think that's really big, especially being like studying astrophysics and science and stuff, and being interested in maybe finding aliens, like astrobiology projects Abby and Mike have been doing. So I think that's a big part of it, just because I love space and science so much. But then also just bonding with my family, like talking about the characters, and like after like a really cool philosophical episode, we like discuss what happened or like what we think. Like one Enterprise episode, we had a lot of discussion about that. I can't remember what it was, but it was like the introduction to like the Prime Directive or something.
Yeah.
Which we should talk about the Prime Directive because I have thoughts. But yeah, we've kind of become attached to it and we really like it, and it means a lot to us.
So this is probably the episode titled "Dear Doctor," where they're on this they're on this planet, and there's I think 2 species. One seems like it's in the ascendancy, the other one is in decline.
Yeah, the like, I guess, oppressive. Yeah, they're like oppressive. They were dying out, and then so Phlox was like, well, how about the ones who are oppressed? They can take over. But then there's like a whole thing like, should you let all these people die or something?
Right. And they're asking for help too, right? And so it's like, should I help the oppressors who are asking for help, or should I just let them die out and let this other civilization on the ascendancy take over? And like, what is my place? As a more advanced technological civilization, do I get to quote unquote play God with this planet that I just ran into? And I feel like there's a lot of philosophical conundrums. Everybody can have their own answer to this, but it also speaks to the need for a law. And so, in the canon of Star Trek, this episode is supposed to like spur the idea that we need actual rules and regulations. And then out of it comes this idea called the Prime Directive, which is like, you shall not.
We got introduced to that in Discovery, right? Yeah.
The
like,
Prime Directive.
It was called General Order 1.
General Order 1,
And then they're
yes.
like, okay, well, we're calling this Prime Directive now. Anyway.
So it's like, is it kind of like our Constitution? Like, what is the Prime Directive?
Do you want to explain?
It's basically a rule that says for Starfleet vessels exploring the cosmos, you're encountering all these strange new worlds, new life, and new civilizations. But if you find one that is not as advanced as you, meaning it's pre-warp, they have not developed warp-capable technology, you're not supposed to meddle in the natural development of that world. You're supposed to let it develop to that point where it becomes a member of this interstellar population. And there are lots of legitimate criticisms.
Yeah, a lot. I am definitely, I don't want to say a hater of the Prime Directive, but I feel like you should be able to break it to save the life of a planet or like a whole species, because like, how they develop, well, they'll just die out. Like, there's nothing to develop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think you should let a whole species, a whole planet die because you don't want to influence how they grow. Yeah.
That's really interesting. I mean, so the one episode you guys are talking about, was there a much less powerful species that was going to die? And then,
or the more powerful species had like a disease that were killing them out. They didn't have a cure. And then the less powerful species, they had, I guess they kind of enslaved them. Yeah. And so they were like evolutionarily on the track to become the dominant species. But then the oppressive species were asking for help because they already broke the Prime Directive. Like, these people already knew about warp technology. They already met other aliens, so like, whatever. And so it was like, Phlox really wanted the oppressive people to die out. So like, these people could, I guess overcome that. But then, yeah, it's just a whole thing. Trying to decide who gets to live, who dies, because like, if they have the cure, because they had the cure, right? Yeah, they had the cure.
The less oppressive species had the cure?
No, Dr. Phlox had the cure.
Oh.
So he could have saved them.
Okay.
And here, I'm going to spoil it. Dr. Phlox chooses not to save them.
Really? Because of the
he lets
Prime
them-
Directive?
Because this is prior to the Prime Directive being an actual like law in Starfleet, because it's a prequel series.
This comes before Discovery.
Yeah, so it's
I see.
it's the ethical kind of
Like a dilemma.
That in the Star Trek timeline basically spurs people to realize we need an actual rule about what to do in these types of situations.
Because like the Vulcans had something, right? Like T'Pol was like, we have this thing, don't interfere. But then humans just didn't, so they were doing whatever.
But like, what do you guys think? What would you do?
Honestly, I would have saved the people. I feel like there's other ways you could have spurred on like a revolution for the oppressed people. And like, you could have helped them. Like, they already were meddling and stuff. Dr. Phlox could have given them like all this ways to like, become a better species or whatever in that regard. So I don't know. I don't think I would have killed them just because like you're generalizing the entire species and letting them die. So yeah, I don't know. And like, also, I don't think that's how evolution works anyway. Like in the episode, I was kind of like, I don't think that's how that works. But yeah, it's definitely hard because you want the oppressed people to like obviously overcome this and like have them not be oppressed, obviously.
Right.
Then also like killing a whole species, like I don't know. it's difficult for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a dilemma.
I think there are multiple ways of helping a planet. And when Dr. Phlox is having this like sort of very black or white opinion about the proper way of handling the situation, you don't appreciate that there's actually, you can supply a cure for this more dominant species and help them biologically overcome whatever was ailing them. But then you can also supply the planet with new, not just scientific and medical knowledge, but like sociopolitical knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, you would be able to help both of these peoples at once.
Together.
Yeah. And so I think these are the types of discussions that are just so fun that get spurred by watching Star Trek. And I feel is one of the things that keeps drawing me back to Star Trek is like every time you rewatch something, you have an extra layer of like contemplation that is added onto it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can watch that episode at some point.
We should. I really want to
think.
watch this one. I feel like I've heard about it before. I think I watched a presentation where someone talked about medical ethics and they related it to Star Trek's Prime Directive. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think this was the episode they used to
That's
like
cool.
justify their talk.
Wow.
It was space medical ethics or
Oh
something.
my god, I
Yeah.
would love to hear that talk.
It
That
was
sounds
really
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
But it also has real implications for our real life astrobiology exploration, right? So if and when we encounter alien life in the cosmos, do we take a kind of Prime Directive inspired approach where we say we shall not meddle in this bacteria's sovereignty, or what should we do? Do we establish a quarantine zone? To what extent can we go in for scientific or other purposes to go and tamper with said life? I feel like we need rules for that.
I agree. I think we could use maybe a law or something.
Something like that.
Maybe
Wow,
a treaty. I don't know. Someone should write that.
Wow, someone should write that, huh?
Yeah. Well, maybe now's a good time to talk about what you two are doing here at Carnegie. And so we'll go into this idea of a law. I mean, Abby, you've got this law background.
Yeah.
You sort of have a two-pronged approach to your time here at Carnegie, helping develop some space law, but then also doing astrobiology research. Would you like to give our audience just a brief overview of the material that you've been working on as a summer intern here at Carnegie?
Yes. Okay. I'll try to keep it really brief. But yes, I'm coming from this pre-law background, but I want to transition into astrobiology. So part of what this summer is it's my chance to conduct real scientific research for the first time in astrobiology, which is where I use ultra-processed, like grocery store type samples to run through a method called PI-GCMS, which is then used to train machine learning algorithms to try to detect biosignatures or maybe technosignatures in space and look for life in space. And then the other half of my time here at Carnegie, I'm spending working on a proposal for an international astrobiology treaty, which would be a UN level treaty that basically, I guess it's kind of like the Prime Directive because it tells us exactly what to do but let's go with when we discover life in space. If we discover microbial life or seemingly intelligent life, how do we handle that discovery? Right now there's like no protocol. So I'm kind of advocating for a protocol to be made.
Yeah, because you never know.
We
might meet aliens tomorrow or something.
Right.
There's nothing to...
There's nothing stopping us from finding life, but we have nothing in place.
Exactly.
And Amelia, what are you working on here at Carnegie this summer?
So at Carnegie, I'm looking at exoplanet atmospheres, and specifically, I'm connecting the upper part of the atmosphere that we can see with like JWST and like measure what molecules are there using spectroscopy, and then connecting how the interior of the planet forms that, because whatever the interior is made of affects how the atmosphere forms and how it's produced. And so I'm looking at different chemical reactions in layers of the atmosphere, like at the magma ocean surface, which is just like the surface of the planet on the inside, and how like magma vaporizes or how like the gas dissolves into it, and the different layers of how all those chemicals react and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, we're trying to connect what we see from JWST observations to the interior to get a better idea of planets. And there's actually two planets that we're focusing on, HD 19-1939C and then HD 19-1939D, and so the star is HD 19-1939. I keep saying it, I should just say CD. Anyway, so that's what we're looking at, and it's cool because these two planets are they have the same radii, but they have very different masses and very different densities, and so we're trying to figure out what about their formation made them so different, especially because they're like right next to each other in the orbital disk. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
You're
Wow.
exploring strange new worlds this
You could
summer.
say.
And you're seeking out new life and new
Crazy.
civilizations.
Yeah,
It sounds so cool when you say it like that.
Exactly.
Well, welcome to Starfleet, both of you.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Part of the
In the science
Federation.
directive or whatever.
I think it would be great to catch up with you again in about 5 weeks toward the end of your internship and discuss how you've progressed both in your scientific discoveries as well as your Star Trek watching.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hopefully
exactly.
in 5 weeks I'll know the names of the characters. So we can talk about them.
Maybe we'll have a quiz. Or
Yeah,
something.
we should.
Test you on it.
Oh, that would be so
A
much
Star
fun.
Trek game show at Carnegie.
Star Trek
Like
game
a
show.
trivia night.
Dude, that would be so fun.
We should start that along with our art club and
Yeah, we have our art
everything
club,
else we're doing.
yeah. All the stuff we're doing in 5 weeks.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, the first 5 weeks of the internship has been so fun getting to know you two and
you.
seeing all the science that you've been producing. And I can't wait to do this again in another 5 weeks and find out where you've gone boldly since then.
Me too.
Me too.
Live long and prosper, guys.
Oh,
Prosper,
yeah.
yay. Oh
You
my
taught
God,
her the
yeah.
hand symbol.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yay.
Doing
Okay.
the Vulcan hand signal, by the way.
Yeah, we are.
But
Yes.
Live long and prosper.
Thanks again to Abby and Amelia for taking the time out of their busy schedules to join me on Strange New Worlds. I wish them happy watching as they continue their Star Trek adventures this summer and beyond. Next time on the podcast, we'll be joined by Carnegie Science postdoctoral fellow and future University of Alabama at Birmingham professor Tyler Perez. Tyler studies how the insides of planets work by subjecting rocky materials to high pressures and extreme temperatures in the lab. And he's also a connoisseur of movie effects. I can't wait to ask him all about lens flares. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you out there.
How are we going to hold a conversation with a planet 100 light years away? It's not going to happen. But hopefully someone invents faster than light and travel, and we get to see them.
We need to invent warp drive.
Yeah,
Warp drive.
let's get on this. Okay, start studying physics.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna be taking physics in the spring. So
nice.
let's
I
check
like
back in the
physics.
spring and I'll
Exactly.
You'll have solved warp drive.
Yes, yeah, I got you guys.
Amazing. Next Carnegie project.
Intro to
warp drive.
physics, yeah.
Well, that might be how you do it. New,
Yeah.
fresh perspective.
That's so true. Oh yeah.